5 minutes late. What color do we want? Oh, I like that one. How do I make it stay on that? Hold on. There we go. Is that what I wanted? I don't think so. What do I want? I can't stop spinning. Oh, I'm kind of into that. Let's have a camera. Oh, that's a vibe. So sorry I wasn't here last week. I missed you. My face is bright red right now. Sorry, I was Pelotoning, and then I took a shower, and then I literally like ran in here and realized I was late. So here we are, on time. Do. Merp. Why won't this bitch delete her video? 6-month streak, Megan LaFlame. Sorry, I'm a little, you know what I'm saying. Hey besties, hey classmates. So glad everyone's here and present after our week off last week. Did you guys watch Remember the Titans like I told you to? Oh, let me post on Instagram that we're here. Hold on. We're halfway there. I always misspell Alcatraz. Doing this lesson was very difficult spelling-wise. Because Indigenous and Alcatraz, I feel like I lose 10 IQ points every time I try and spell them. Because I'm just like, you know? My week was so structureless without class. I'm sorry. I know a lot of us rely on this. I do too. I was going to try to, but I didn't have a way to bring my... So I had to bring my work computer on my trip. And I didn't have a way to... like figure out how to bring both computers. You know what I mean? I forgot it was Wednesday. I need a cigarette. Miss, she's lying. The sub was nice. Time off was important. It wasn't even time off. I was fucking working. It sucked. No, it was actually really good. I got to go to a conference and like meet new people and like experience new things and learn a lot. So it was kind of a good decision to go. Oh, I just realized my headphones are plugged in. It was like cool and a good decision to go, but I missed you guys, you know? The substitute was so bad. Okay, let me post on Instagram for your brothers and sisters that were here. Dum, da-dum. Okay, what am I doing? I'm way too, you know? People always leave when I get distracted. As soon as I touch my phone, everyone's like, bye, which is valid. Like, I wouldn't want to watch someone be on their phone. Yet here I am on my phone. I'm just inviting your friends. Like, it's going to be more fun the more people that are here. You know what I mean? Boom. Posted. You're literally the only person I have Twitch downloaded for. Oh my god, thank you. POV, you saw a TikTok about this like 2 minutes ago. Yes. Welcome. If you're here from TikTok, welcome. I thought Mike was a real person for a minute. No, that would be terrifying. Why do my ears look like that? And yeah, congrats on the interview. We love a job interview moment. We love it. We live for it. Oh my god. So I need to show you this TikTok. This is literally me tonight. Like, this is me talking about Indigenous history tonight. Is that not hilarious? Oh my god. Are we supposed to clap or just like respect? Have you listened to the new Taylor Swift album? I have not. I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm Swiftie adjacent, so I'll listen to it when I listen to it. Like, I'm not waiting for the drop, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't really have anything to add to the conversation. I like her music, but it's not my favorite genre of music. Or not even, like, style, even though she kind of does every style. She's very talented. She's a very talented woman. It's just, she's not one of my top artists, I would say. Oh, a hype train. Oh my god, I love a hype train. Watcha, subscribe with Prime. Thank you. Quarter Life Crisis. Quarter Life Crisis is my most loyal confidant. Quarter Life Crisis is there for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's Quarter Life Crisis, and we can rely on her. We love that. She is certainly a slay. She is. She is a slay. Quarter Life Crisis is literally just a slay. She's a slay. I want my hair out of my face a little bit. Let's get into this. Also, I'm really upset that no one's acknowledged the meme. No one's acknowledged the meme that's on our screen right now. Right now in this here and now, no one's acknowledged the meme. But anyway, the trip was good. It was like, it just kind of affirmed for me that like if I get a different job. I don't want a job where I have to travel a lot because I really liked it there. Like, I had a lot of fun and, like, I learned a lot, but it took a lot out of me, and I was really tired at the end of each day. And, like, a lot of my coworkers, they've been like, why didn't you come out drinking with us at the conference? Like, we were going out every night. Where were you? And, like, I just really can't do that. Like, I just hate going out. Like, I hate being at bars. It gives me a lot of social anxiety. And the combination of, like, a bar and a work situation, I just, like, literally no. Like, literally nope. Immediately nope. So it just kind of showed me that I don't want to work somewhere where that's like a huge part of it. I could do it like once a month. Like a trip once a month to me seems fun and exciting, but some companies, like, you travel like 40 or 50% of the time, and I just could not do that. You know, like, it was a lot. It was fun, but like it was just really tiring, and like I'm just not built for that. I'm kind of introverted. I like to be extroverted in like this setting, but not in like a group conversation setting, because like what the fuck are we even talking about? But anyway, let's talk about something that actually matters, not work. Let's talk about the occupation of Alcatraz. And I have no idea what this GIF is from. I get these off Giphy, and I just search like kind of the thing I'm looking for, like angry, shocked, whatever. And I searched mommy's home, and then this came up, and I thought it was very funny. I love office happy hours. A partner at my firm helped me type a message to my girlfriend once at an office happy hour. I needed the help. I would hate having to travel a whole lot, maybe once a year. Glad you had a good time. Yeah, like, it's like every once in a blue moon it's fun, but it's not something I want to do, like, every day. Because, like, my mom, when I was in high school, she traveled about 50% of the time, and, like, that literally sounds terrible. Like, I would cry. Like, imagine not being in your own bed, like, with your blankets and your water bottle. And also, I feel like every time I go out of town, I realize, like, how dependent I am on my water. Because, like, if I don't have access to lemon juice, ice, and cold water, like, I'm really not okay. Like, it affects my mood. I need it to be stable. And thankfully, the conference center I was at, they had like a big coffee and tea station, and at the tea spot they had like little packets of lemon juice, and then they had ice, so I could like still get my water at the conference. And then I was staying with my aunt and not at the hotel, and I'm so glad, because like, even though a hotel is like bougier to stay in than like in your family's house, I could just be like, you need to fucking take me to Publix right now. And it was a lot better, because I was like, if I was at the hotel, like, I would not be okay. You're so high maintenance. I need the lemon juice. Like, when I have it without the lemon juice, I'm like, okay. How often do you wear glasses versus contacts? My insurance only covers one, so I chose contacts all the time. Contacts, I really don't like them. I like to wear them on here because I can see better, and then the light doesn't glare in them, but I don't like to wear them for more than like 8 hours at a time, absolute max. So I usually only wear them if I'm gonna be outside all day with like sunglasses and like swimming or anything like that, I wear contacts. When I stream, I wear contacts. Usually when I record the podcast, I don't wear contacts. Yeah, so I would say I probably wear contacts 6 or 7 days out of the month would be my estimate. Have you ever had the lemon crystal things? True Lemon, I think it's called. No, I haven't. Y'all ever put strawberries in your water? No. Oh, next question was, did you have Publix where you grew up? Yes, I did have Publix where I grew up, but I grew up as a Kroger family. We had Publix, but Kroger was closer and cheaper, so we went to Kroger. But now I live in Florida, so I go to Publix. But my favorite place to get groceries from is Aldi. Aldi is just really far from me. So I don't go very often, but like if my boyfriend does like a grocery order, we get it from Aldi. You have a podcast? Yes, I do have a podcast. It's with Miss Frazzled from like Teacher TikTok. It's called Teacher Quit Talk, and we talk about teaching, we talk about quitting, and we interview people. So we interview people that have had like either are currently in education and like the vibes are bad, or people that have left. It's mostly people that have left, and why did they leave, what their situation was, all of that. I'm also a slut for Aldi. I love Aldi. Aldi also, like, Aldi's food is safer. Like, they have higher standards than, like, what's required legally on, like, chemicals and pesticides and things. So, like, their stuff goes bad really fast, which, like, to me sucks, because then you have to rebuy stuff and, like, be more conscious of how fast you use it. But it's, like, kind of a green flag, because if, like, bread goes bad really fast, that probably means that bread is, like, pretty Like, it doesn't have a ton of additives in it and stuff like that. Putting on podcast notifications now. Thank you. There's like 8 episodes on there. I love Teacher Quit Talk. It's just a little chaotic, but in the best way possible. Yeah, I'm really excited. Oh, I just realized I forgot to do something for Teacher Quit Talk. Shit. I need to write this down. Here's the thing. And here's the, oh, perfect, a Post-it. We love it. Perfect. You've collected all of the level 1 emotes. What does that mean? I feel like this is such a gaming website, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. Aw, hey Alexa, thanks for subscribing. Kennedy Marie, thanks for the follow. We love a subscription, we love a follow. Thank you for subscribing. It supports me. We're living, laughing, and loving. And today I found out at work that my health insurance benefits are being cut. So now I have to pay for that. It used to be they covered all of it, which is like pretty rare and pretty dope for a company to cover all of it. And today they announced that that is over. In 2023, that will be no more. So throw your girl a subscription. What was I writing down? Oh, sign that document. I have to sign like a release or something. Miss Redacted is one true gamer girl. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you. This is really chaotic, but like it's fine. I promise we'll start learning a little bit. I saw someone on my YouTube went through every video and commented like class starts at 17 minutes, class starts at 12 minutes. Like, and I was like, okay, love like the effectiveness. Like, thanks for keeping me on my toes and love the organization. But I was like, oh, wait, I want to turn this. There we go. I'm on the hunt. I'll be sending you more links. Oh my god, so Quarter Life Crisis sent me this job posting and it seems super cool and I applied and then they emailed me and they were like, we are so honored. We've had over 500 applicants. Thank you so much. And it's like, it's because it's an amazing job. And it also, they were like, if you're a teacher, we'll wait for you to finish the year. And like literally what company would do that? So we'll see what happens there. Also, if you work with me and you heard that, no, you didn't. I love it here, and I'm never leaving. And I can't wait to hit my year mark and be eligible for a promotion. Hee hee. Hee hee. What was I going to do? I was going to do something on my phone. Fuck. What's wrong with me? Okay. Let's learn. Literally, what was I going to do? Does anyone know? I need to redo my camera tape, you guys. This is not okay. Cut to me getting ghosted by hardware. That's terrible. I would never ghost any of you in a job search. Ever. Oh my fucking god. Can you just work, please? God damn. This is what it's like to work with me. I had a very intense day today. There were so many people who needed so many things from me today. Did you write down the thing for the podcast? Yes. I just hit 5 years now in my org, and now I'm very interested in now I'm vested into the retirement system. Write the note for Teacher Quit Talk. I was going to do something on my phone, though. I don't know what it was. I guess we'll never know. I guess we will never know. So many people needed things from me today, and they were like, SOS, call 911, help. And I was like, oh my God. And like, normally when that happens, it's easy things, so I can be like, yes, done, helped, easy, you're good. But today, it was like things that weren't working. Like, oh, my computer won't connect to the printer. And like, I don't know. I do not know. I don't know. I don't know. And then I had to like, basically when someone new joins the company, you have to meet with them for like 2 hours and be like, here's how to do everything. And like, here's your login. You're going to post on Insta. I did that too. Whatever. I don't think I'd said it out loud yet, because once I say something out loud, then I remember it. It'll come to me if it's meant to. You know what I mean? Let me see if this person replied to me. I want a sandwich really bad right now. Duh! Okay, let's get into teaching. Let's get into learning. We've already been here for 14 minutes. So, yeah. It was senior day at work, aka 5% off at our store. It was hell. Ooh. I hate when no one responds to the questions at work. The fake jobs on LinkedIn. ADHD. Oh, earlier I was talking about thank you for subscribing. And if you want to subscribe with Prime, you get a couple free subscriptions if you're an Amazon Prime member. My computer isn't working. Okay, what do you want me to do about that? Except I'm literally the technology person. So, but I'm not IT. We have IT and they're different. And sometimes because they're not there, they're like off site. Sometimes they come. People think that I'm IT and I'm like, I'm not IT though, is the thing. Is that I'm not. Betty Crocker, I thought you meant another kind of time. No. I have comments. I have too many social medias. All right, so let's get into it. Let's discuss. We're learning about the occupation of Alcatraz today. Let me make my screen a little more baby so that, there we go. Yes. Okay, let me move you guys over here. Chat highlight settings. Hi from Seattle. At least they thought you were a woman capable of IT. So one time the IT guy was there and I kept referring to myself as a woman in STEM and he was like, can you please not do that? And I was like, why? I am a woman in STEM. Like, I'm a woman and I'm here fixing the projector. And he was like, women in STEM face a lot of issues and you are fine. And I was like, oh my God, wait, not you calling me out. I was like, sorry. I was like, damn, you really respect women in STEM. I feel like an asshole. It was pretty funny, honestly. Like, it was really embarrassing, but like I learned from that, you know what I mean? Like, you can't appropriate the women in STEM culture, and I was ignorant to that. I feel like I should wear a party hat. What do you guys? I feel like y'all can tell that I literally have been on like this level of energy since 8 a.m. because I've been surrounded by people since 8 a.m. and they've all had questions and needed help from me, and I've had to be like, yeah, this, that. So like it literally just isn't stopping and I have no control over what's happening right now and I literally have no focus because I had to accomplish so much today. Oh my God, thanks for using the angry cowboy. No one ever uses angry cowboy. I kind of forget he's there. Me changing the S in STEM to sociology so you can be a woman in STEM. So technically sociology is a social science. So I have a bachelor's of science. A bachelor's of science. As a scientist, man, I wish I had like 1/4 of your energy. So here's the thing is that if I am not firing on all cylinders and working 14 hours a day, I will literally lay in my bed and just rot. Like if I do not have my schedule jam-packed from like the moment I wake up to the moment I close my eyes at night, I just get so depressed and I'm like, there's no point, there's nothing to do. But then, if I'm super busy, I'm depressed because I'm so busy and I have no time to do nothing. But I figured out that this depression isn't as bad. So I'm just going to go with this one. This one's the plan. If you're on 100 at all times and always zooming and always getting so much stuff done, you just have to keep going. And there's no time. That's my plan. Maybe I should go back to therapy. Probably not, though. Every time I fix a printer at work, I call myself a woman in STEM, and now I'm going to rethink that. I'm going to tell him about his impact. I'm going to be like, sir, I like working from home, but it's also ruining my life. So, yeah, I think my dream job is like, there's an office, and I can go there when I want to, and I would probably go like 1 or 2 days a week. Like, that to me is like, perfect. You know what I'm saying? But listening to the podcast the last few days, and I love it. Ooh, I truly do not understand how these things are determined. Somehow my bachelor's in physics is a BA. That makes no sense. That shouldn't be the case. Wait. I have a psychology degree that I don't use, but I will tell you to go back to therapy. I don't like the therapist. Like, I talk and I'm like, this is why I do that. And they're like, wow, really insightful. And I'm like, what am I paying you for? You know what I mean? And now that my benefits got cut, maybe I don't even get therapy, you know? But anyway, let's continue. Let's learn about the occupation at Alcatraz. It's hard to find a new therapist. Like I said, I have every moment of every day scheduled. I'll go when I go. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so today we're learning about the Red Power movement and mainly the occupation of Alcatraz. I know the term red is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But that's what it was called at the time. So that's why I mean that. Just how in the picture it says Indian land, like we don't really use that terminology anymore, or you shouldn't. You should say Native American or Indigenous people. Indigenous people is kind of like more correct because like America didn't exist and like those borders didn't exist. So it's not that I think it's like a slur, but it's just like inaccurate. So you know what I mean? So both, oh wait, I'm on the wrong side for this. I'm sorry. Look at this picture. This is a picture during this time. Look at a little medical truck. Okay, but anyway, the terms red and Indian are outdated, so if you see them used here, it's because it's like a historic quote or document or like name of something. This event took place in the 60s when those terms were common, and today you should use Native or Indigenous people is the like more accepted and correct terminology to use. You're not the therapy, it's not the therapist, it's the kind of therapy. You're probably going to CBT, which doesn't help self-aware people. Try ACT therapy. Ooh, okay, we're writing that down. We are writing that down. Are you a therapist? Are you taking clients? Is that, no? Okay. I love my therapist, but sometimes it takes time to find the person for you. Yeah, it's hard. Okay, anyway, let's get into this. So the context of the civil rights movement at the time, because think about this movement came like shortly after the civil rights movement. The occupation of Alcatraz was in 1869. So if you think about like Brown versus Board, the ending of segregation in schools was passed in 1954. So like kind of around that time, but a little bit after that. So the civil rights movement began in the 1950s. I mean, it really started a lot earlier than that, but like the events that we think of. It originated against African Americans. I changed that to African Americans. Why the fuck did it not save? This is why sometimes I don't like using like history.com and Britannica and stuff. Who experienced oppression under Jim Crow and violence in the South. However, other groups who were marginalized as well because they felt society was dominated by white men, which it was, started to organize and march. Women and gay rights also came into focus during this time. Much more women's rights than gay rights. Gay rights kind of came more of a thing in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now. That sounded like a radio ad. And Mexican Americans marched for the rights of farm workers, education, and better treatment by law enforcement. So basically, all I'm saying here is that it is a time of a lot of civil rights and protest and movements happening forward, if you get what I'm saying. Another group that saw it was the right time for them. Why can't I read? Native Americans also felt it was the right time for them to start to work together and fight for their rights in this type of way, like that they'd seen with the Civil Rights Movement. So they grouped together in 1944. It was called National Congress of American Indians. This is what I'm saying. Like the names and stuff use the terminology of the day. And then this was a group that was attempting to influence national politics. And then from that group... Sorry, I have like a weird bump right there. From that group came the National Indian Youth Council. This was a group of young people who disliked the slow pace of change under the bigger group, and so they started organizing into local bands. If you look at protesting and like nonprofit work and all of that, grassroots is always the way to go. Like grassroots always does the most with their resources. It's always the fastest. It's always the most effective. So I can see where these young people are in this large movement and they're like, y'all are moving way too fucking slow. Like we actually want to get shit done. That happens time and time again in history. So many times there's a big group and then the younger people go off and form a more radical, smaller grassroots and local based group. So this is the founding members of the National Congress of American Indians. You can see they're in like pretty formal attire. I don't know where the bamboo room is, but these are their founding members in Denver. Oh, so I guess that's where the bamboo room is. But you can see kind of the vibes. Very, very serious. And then when you look at the National Indian Youth Council, you can see the vibes are very different. They're protesting. They have the American flag upside down. They have the jackets. Like, they kind of have the same vibe that you think of with like the Black Panther Party. Well, that I think of like people protesting, young people, grassroots movement, all that kind of stuff. So let's actually talk about these groups. So this is the like more mainstream one. The National Congress of American Indians was formed in 1944 and preceded the Red Power movement. The main objective was to promote legislation in Congress to secure more rights and freedoms of American Indian people. Again, now we'd say Indigenous people or Native American people. It was the first time that different tribes became unified under a common cause. In like this super official involved with the US government way. Obviously, history is thousands of years old. Tribes have worked together time and time again throughout history. But in like this kind of white capitalistic view of creating a specific organization. It's the first time that happened. And this group, the NCAI, was methodological in its approach to change and worked with various levels of government. Some of the later civil rights movements separated from this because of the disagreements about progress, like I mentioned. But this is where the Red Power movement started. So the Red Power movement is like the Indigenous people's civil rights movement of this time period is what it's called, the Red Power movement. So this is the youth one. This is the one that was not feeling there was enough progress being made. So the National Indian Youth Council was founded in 1961, so that's 16 years later, by current and former Native American college students. So they were considered a militant civil rights group because of the direct action strategies. Their main goals were to secure and protect the rights that were listed in treaties, especially hunting and fishing treaties. So remember in the TikTok that I made where I was kind of talking about like their strategy was like, okay, this is what this treaty says. Let's try and fight for this right. Like, instead of fighting to create new legislation, because that takes a really long time and we want to get shit done right now, let's fight to enforce the legislation that's been previously written, because that's like kind of a life hack, I guess, if that makes sense. So the usage of the phrase Red Power had its origins in the 60s to show a united and militant front led by Native American activists to secure their rights and their land. So that's kind of their strategy here. And I just think it's very interesting to see the generational differences in protest. Such a good strategy. I think so too, because it's like, it's already on paper, it's already written down, and you have to answer to it today. Oh wait, someone messaged me. Oh, thanks for posting the stream. But yeah, that's essentially what it is that young people usually want a much more direct action approach to their protesting, which if you think about it, that makes total sense, like developmentally, because a young person doesn't have as much patience as an older person, and they haven't seen change over time in the way an older person has. So I can see how they would come to that with very different perspectives. I don't think either one is necessarily like wrong, but I just think they're different, and it's interesting to see, like, I don't know, it's just so obvious like where it comes from to me. I need to get off my phone, sorry, I'm feeling like I'm massively ADHD today. Okay, so the Red Power movement had its origins in the 60s, like I said, and their main goals were federal government honoring treaties established in the past to give tribes more sovereignty. Government needed to provide financing for various areas like education and housing, better living conditions in the territories, not the same thing as reservation, but that's probably the closest to what you're thinking of, and then promote more Native American members in political and social organizations, establish colleges, and then increase recognition or re-recognition of hundreds of major and minor tribes. So these are kind of the goals of the movement during this time period. Also, thanks for the follow, Florentine Eva, page 6277. Yeah, I'm Chloe. I love that username. Yeah, I'm Chloe. Fuck you mean, you know? I love the energy. I love the gravitas. It's giving me you. I want to see more of that. Okay, so the American Indian Movement, or AIM. AIM was founded in 1968 by a younger generation of Native Americans, mostly in urban areas. They were intent on enacting a new type of protest. So it was founded to support Native American rights, living conditions, and treatment within cities, but later expanded its focus. AIM disagreed with the way the NCAI was functioning, and leaders felt like the process of fighting and working with the government was too slow, so AIM wanted to use direct action to make change happen faster. Seeing how the media involvement had worked for African Americans and women, the AIM movement planned protests in prominent places that would garner media attention. So that's another thing a lot of people don't realize about the civil rights movement is a lot of the iconic photos and protests, like in Birmingham and Atlanta and things like that you've seen, that is not an accident. They were very intentional about having these in these locations and telling media to be there, because media is what gives the public an eye into an event. So if you want to win the hearts and minds, you have to win through the media. So that's a very common strategy that's used for evil people, for amazing people, and for everybody in between. Media, media, media. Can we get a slightly bigger font? Yes. Sorry. Some of them have a bigger font, and I think this is my sign to use the big font on every one. But I'm also reading it, so if you can't see it, don't worry about it too much. I got you. But yes, I will start using large font instead of their little medium normal one. Okay, where was I? So they had a 3-prong plan to realize their media goals. 1, occupy unused federal facilities in accordance with the 1868 treaty with the Lakota Sioux. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Apologies if I'm not. So remember how on the TikTok I mentioned there was a treaty that said natives are permitted to use and occupy any unused federal land and facilities. They were like, hey, we found some. You wrote it. You signed it. And then occupy federal sites significant to governance of Native American affairs, and then protest Indian affairs sites and lands. So they conducted protests at various sites around the U.S. to advertise the plight of Native Americans nationwide. I've heard it pronounced Sioux. Yeah, that's what I think too, is Sioux. Awesome. Glad to hear the confirmation. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so this is the flag. The American Indian Movement flag uses traditional colors of various tribes to show unification and power. And keep in mind, the propaganda in the U.S. against indigenous people is that, oh, they're savages, they fight each other, they had all these tribal wars, yada, 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 whatever. Which, anytime you have different people in a society, there's war. That's not a race thing. It's just that society equals war. That's what humans do. Unfortunately, it's kind of in our nature. Speaking of, have you guys seen C? It's so good. But anyway, the fact that it was showing unified between all of these different tribes was a very big deal, especially for it to be in this very official way. Kind of a sick flag though, right? I love it. The graphic designer for this, they put their whole self into it. They were like, oh, you need a flag. You need a flag. Say less. The artist, they ate, They did. They gave it what we deserve. Hi, everyone. Hi, Guitar Santa. So, I don't have ice in my water. Native American resistance held Alcatraz for 18 months. Someone actually corrected me online and said it's 19 months and 1 day. So they had this island under their control for a year and a half, which is a very long time. This is where it is, if you have not heard of it before. It's in the San Francisco Bay. So this right here is San Francisco. And then this is Marin. This is the bridge in San Francisco, and it's an island. That's what it looks like. It's very small. It's not a big island. It's small. It's in the bay. Well, I have so many questions. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the 18 months. Don't worry. I wanted to tell you it's 18 months, so now we're going to get into it and talk about the whole 18 months. But any questions? Yes. My dad is Cherokee and has this on a hat. It is a really dope symbol. Okay, so history of the island. European discovery of San Francisco Bay led to the island's discovery in 1542 and culminated with the mapping of the bay in 1775. Early visitors preceded 10,000 to 20,000 years ago, however, by the native and indigenous people to the area. So this time, it's way smaller than I expected. Yeah, it's very small. So there had been native and indigenous people on this island way long ago. It's in a bay. It's not, if you have a boat, you can get there relatively easily, so that makes sense. But prior to the Spanish and Portuguese explorers, over 10,000 people that were indigenous, later to be called the Ohlone, it means Western people, lived between Point Sur and San Francisco Bay. So this area, not the island, because the island's pretty rocky and small, but this area had been occupied way, way, way prior to this. Early use of Alcatraz Island by the indigenous people is difficult to reconstruct, as most tribal and village history was recorded and passed down as oral history. Oral history means you tell someone about it. So if history is passed down orally and then you kill a bunch of people, you lose a lot of that history as opposed to if it's written down in a book. A large portion of the oral history has been lost as a result of the reduction of the population, you mean murder, following European contact. Based on oral history, it appears Alcatraz was used as a place of isolation or ostracization for tribal members who had violated tribal law or taboo, and it was a camping spot, an area for gathering food, and that Alcatraz also utilized as a hiding system from Native Americans trying to escape the mission system. So Alcatraz had been used historically. Like I said, it's not like it was a major population hub, but there were people there because it's in the bay. You can get there on a boat, so they did use it for stuff. I saw a video of Alcatraz a little while ago, and it was how Alcatraz Military Fort became America's worst prison from its history. Okay, so, can you load, please? Once Alcatraz became a prison, both military prisoners and civilians were incarcerated on the island. The largest single group of Native American prisoners sentenced to confinement was in January 1895 when the U.S. government arrested, tried, and shipped 19 Hopi, I'm not sure, to Alcatraz Island. Native people continued to be confined as prisoners in the disciplinary barracks for the remainder of the 1800s and early 1900s. So Alcatraz was a prison, for those of you that do not know. They built a prison there. It's a very maximum security prison because if it's an island, it's kind of hard to leave. Shawshank Redemption is based on Alcatraz, if you have seen that movie. I haven't. Anybody having buffer issues or just me? Ooh, what's the mission system? Great question. The mission system, Hopi, you said it right. Nice, I'm on a roll. The mission system is like spreading Catholicism. So when the Europeans came over, they would set up missions. Like, you know, when people go on mission trips and like go to a country and like paint a mural and hold the kids for Instagram, that's a mission, is when you go somewhere to like spread religion. So the Native Americans did not want to be Catholic because Catholicism seems pretty lame. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna hide here because we don't really want to be a part of your whole mission situation. Time to watch The Rock. I haven't seen that. It would be so terrifying to be sentenced there. So like, I don't know if this is concerning, but if I got sentenced to life in prison, I would just like unalive myself. Like, I'd be like, literally no. Like, I can't do that. Like, that's just literally not an option in any way, shape, or form. Hold the kids for Instagram. It's true. It's literally true. It is literally true. Okay, but anyway, here is a picture of the men that were held here in 1895 on sedition charges. They had refused to comply with U.S. government policies such as forced education. So, yeah, they got put in prison, which sucks a lot because, like, forced education also sucks. Pretty garbage. If you don't know, Native Americans would have their, like, children stolen from them and then sent to boarding schools where they would, like, shave their heads, abuse them mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, in every way you can abuse someone, force them to read the Bible, force them to learn Christianity, force them to speak English. They weren't allowed to see their parents. Sometimes the parents would even be camping outside, like, the gates of the school because they knew where their kids were, but they wouldn't let them in. So when it's forced education, it's not like, oh, you have to go to school every day. Like, it's literally kidnapping. Like, it's full kidnapping. And even, honestly, up until, like, probably now, the foster system really disproportionately affects Indigenous people, and a lot of Indigenous kids end up in foster care. And especially during, like, the 50s and 60s, a lot of kids were, like, basically kidnapped from their parents by the foster system and then adopted by white parents to, like, give them, like, a better life, or whatever you want to call it. My friend's aunt escaped a residential school and was forced to go back. The foster system still be doing it. Yeah, that's what I thought. That checks out. That sounds about right. They've actually, at a lot of the schools, found mass graves, which, like, it's not really supposed to happen at school. There's Supreme Court law case on the law called ICWA, which is the Indian Child Welfare Act, to protect Native children removed from their homes. Yeah, there's I watched a Vox video about it with my students a couple years ago. It was really good. Just got here. How much have I missed? Not a ton. You're fine. We're still here. We are just getting to the actual occupation. We did, like, a lot of background on the movement and the island and all of that stuff. Okay. So, moving on. Imagine getting your land stolen and then getting put in prison on your land in your old prison. Because it said they used this island to, like, isolate people who had done taboo things, which I'm assuming means just, like, being a menace. So imagine being like, okay, so years and years ago, because oral history, you would have heard about it, like, years and years ago, my people used this as a prison for actual prisoners. And now I'm being put here for trying to escape people who should be in prison. Awesome. Like, poetic in the worst possible way. I would make life hell for the guards. I feel like they just make life hell for you back, you know? If I was in prison, I would try and network with the guards. I'd be like, you want me to redo your resume? Like, honestly, you could be doing better than this. Like, I would try and get them on my side so that they would give me, like, extra snacks and stuff. That would be my strategy. I don't think I would do very well in prison. I don't think many of us would. I think that's kind of the point, I guess. Reclaiming the rock. So, since the mid-1960s, Native Americans had been on a mission to break into Alcatraz. The famous prison closed its doors in 1963. See, it was a prison. Now it's not a prison. And after that, the Bay Area Native Americans began lobbying to have the island redeveloped as an Indian cultural center and school. So they were like, this should be a school and a cultural center on this island. We already have a fucking ferry going back and forth. Like, perfect. And 5 Sioux even landed on Alcatraz in March 1964 and tried to seize it under that treaty. The one I mentioned, the 1868 treaty that allowed Native Americans to appropriate surplus federal land. These early efforts all failed, but reclaiming the rock became a rallying cry for the Native Americans, many of whom viewed the island as a symbol of government indifference towards the indigenous population. So, I just think the strategy of using these old treaties was so smart. Be their career coach so they're not a part of the cultural state anymore. No, literally, I'd be like, you're making money off my suffering. Is that what you want? And they're making money off your suffering. Like, I would grow class consciousness in the prison system. And then I'd be like, but donate to my commissary, thanks. Imagine being in prison. Is Alcatraz closed as a prison? Yes, now it's a historic landmark. Imagine being in prison and just, like, your eyelash extensions leaving you one by one. I would hold on to the last one. It'd have one left, and I'd be like, my one eyelash. Okay, where was I? So, yeah, the U.S. government did not want to honor those treaties. Shocker. They were like, yeah, we don't know what you're talking about. That was a different guy. When it comes to stuff that you signed to the U.S. government, somehow it happens what the founding fathers wanted. I did the Alcatraz night tour, and it was great, and they did talk about this. Historic landmark, like, look, we tortured a bunch of people. Most historic landmarks are just, we tortured a bunch of people here. My skin would be so dry in prison. I'd be like, do you have a silicone face scrub by chance? No? Okay. The U.S. government said, yeah, that was me, but also not me at the same time. Okay, so when an October 1969 fire destroyed the San Francisco American Indian Center, an activist group known as Indians of All Tribes set their sight on using the unused land at Alcatraz. A handful of protesters first journeyed to the island on November 9th, 1969, under the leadership of Mohawk College student Richard Oakes. They only stayed for a night before the authorities removed them, but Oakes stressed that the landing had been a symbolic act. If a one-day occupation by white men on Indian land land years ago established squatters' rights, then the one-day occupation of Alcatraz should establish Indian rights to the island. I don't know why it was so hard for me to read that. That's what he told the San Francisco Chronicle. So then on November 20th, they had an occupation force of 89 men, women, and children. After sailing through San Francisco Bay under the cover of darkness, they landed at Alcatraz and claimed the island for the tribes of North America. Ignoring warnings that their occupation was illegal, they moved into the old warden's house and guards' quarters and began personalizing the island with graffiti. They said, we can play that game too. Well, thank you for sharing the quote. You're welcome. Where was I? Okay, so not only did they go and occupy the land, they were like, we're gonna make ourselves at home. Like, we're moving in. Like, we're personalizing it. We're putting up a sign, and we brought our furniture. Not furniture, but like their stuff. Like, we brought our bags, so we're here to stay. It's kind of like when your friend hits you up and is like, what's up? I'm coming into town. And you think it's for like 5 minutes, and then they get there and it's like a whole bag, and you're like, oh my God, you're staying here? That's what they did. In a positive way, I mean, obviously. So yes, they pull up to the island, personalize it, Make it home. I work hard to make this place like a home. No, literally. Okay, where was I? A message appeared on the water tower reading, "Peace and freedom, welcome. Home of free Indian land," and other buildings were tagged with slogans like "Red Power" and "Custer had it coming." So, like I said, they're putting up their decor. They're making it a home. They're making the island a home and a community. Like, it was an island and a prison, and now it's a community. You're welcome. They literally upped the neighborhood value so dramatically. Now it's a thriving community. It used to be a prison. How could you complain about this? So here's some pictures of it. So you can see it used to be United States Penitentiary. Now it is Indians Welcome, and then it says Indian Land. Here's another picture of the people there. It was a lot of very young people. That's metal AF. It is very metal. That's the perfect word to describe it. It's very, very metal. Here's another picture of them on this land. Oh my God, for a second I thought it said I'd only been streaming for 25 minutes, and I was like, I don't think that's possible. Here's a picture of them on this land. You can see it's a lot of young people, a lot of college students. Here's Custer had it coming. And then here's the water tower. And actually they had to replace the water tower just because it was like falling apart. This was recently. I think it was like 2010s or something. They had to replace the water tower just for like safety reasons, and so the replacement they had like an artist come and do the graffiti on it because it's a historic landmark, so it was like restored in a way. They made like a copy of it. I don't know how you do that, but yeah. So I think this is the new water tower, but that's like the original graffiti, what it looked like they copied it exactly the same. So what was the intent? What was the goal? The first proclamation to the public followed shortly thereafter in a manifesto addressed to the Great White Father and all his people. In it, they stated their intentions to use the island for a school, cultural center, and museum. They claimed Alcatraz was theirs by right of discovery, but sarcastically offered to buy it for $24 in glass beads and red cloth, the same price that the natives supposedly received for the island of Manhattan. The activists added that they didn't mind that the island was underdeveloped and lacked fresh water, since most of them had already endured similar conditions on government Indian reservations. So when the government was like, you can't live there, it doesn't have water, they were like, yeah, neither does the fucking land you put us on, so I'm fine. I feel great, actually. I feel perfectly at home. I love it here. Witchy7593, thank you for the follow. But the $24 in glass beads, like, that's funny. I would love to be in the room when they got that offer. I would laugh. If I worked for the government and I saw that, I'd be like, I think we should give it to them. That's funny. That's objectively hilarious. I'd be like, just because that joke was great, they deserve it. Like, even aside from the historical reasons, they deserve it. Just because the joke's funny. And, like, you're literally not using it. Why do you give a shit? It's like a rock in the middle of a bay. Like, who cares? We're all just on a floating rock. It's like, so someone else can have the little rock. I don't fucking care. Like, I don't know why the government gets its panties in such a wad about literally everything. I would be embarrassed if I was government. No, literally. Literally. Like, the U.S. government protecting this island feels like when your friend is like, oh, can you Venmo me $1 because we split that piece of candy at my house? Like, be for real. Like, it's a little island. Why do you care? Just give it to them. Who cares? So what was the immediate response? Worried about the fallout, the Nixon administration was like, we're just not going to do anything. They were like, us doing something looks bad because this shit is embarrassing for us, especially how they were like, what about water? And the Native Americans were like, what about it? So the Nixon administration was like, yeah, we're not going to do anything. We're good. It's fine. We're good. Everything's fine. This is Nixon, literally. Also, this being from March 10th, 2020 is just like, God. Look at Mike Pence's face. He's like, motherfucker, I was in the briefings. This shit is not going away. Not Nixon again, but I'm not surprised. We're not going to get into a ton of, like, presidential villain bullshit now. We're mainly, like, I wanted this to be, like, positive vibes of talking about, like, the protest and not, like, the terrible actions of the government. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's going to come up. Obviously. But anyway, negotiations start to begin. Government officials later journeyed to the island on multiple occasions to negotiate, but their diplomatic efforts were not very effective. The activists were adamant that they would settle for nothing less than the deed to the island, and while the government services administration said that that was impossible, and this is my logic, is like, anything's possible with enough money and power, and no one has more power than the U.S. government. So it is possible because people do transfers of land all the fucking time. Like, if you're the president, just literally do it. Just be like, yeah, you own the land. Like, just write it. I don't fucking know. Like, just literally write it. I do not see how it's impossible. Like, what do you mean it's impossible? I could see where it's like, oh, this is really unprecedented, so it's going to take us 6 months before the deed goes through because we have to have a whole team of lawyers review it. Like, that's understandable because it's like, oh, this hasn't happened. It's going to take us time to figure out the details of it. Impossible? Nothing's impossible. Have a little fucking stride in your step. Have a little ingenuity. Have a little passion. This is what's wrong with the government and the government employees. There's no passion. There's no drive. They're not being solutions oriented. They're not wanting to get stuff done. They're just like, we can't do that because we don't want to. So just literally stop asking because we said we didn't want to. Like, that's the U.S. government. That's the Government Services Administration. Remember when that whole guy got like a whole state for a baby? School secretary vibes and things. Sorry, I can't rate the pass. Like, you can. You can. No, I loved our school secretary, though. I would die for that woman. If you're watching this, thank you for your service to all the school secretaries. Imagine being in the room where they were making other offers. What were the other offers? That's what I want to know. What were the offers? They were probably like, oh, we have a Costco gift card. We have a gift card to the Costco food court if you'll get off the island. Like, what? They've been very clear about what they want. I don't know why you thought you could negotiate them down to another offer. God. Okay. And again, it's literally not impossible. Like, you just don't really want to, is the thing. Which is fine. Just admit it and get over it and then do it. Like, if you don't want to do something, you have to be like, oh, I don't want to. And then be like, okay, it's the right thing. Okay, I'll do it. And then you just do it. Like, it's not that hard. It's really not. Loving all the SNL gifts, queen. Thank you. SNL has good gifts, to be honest. I love the Costco food court. Me too. So, as the two sides debated, the natives continued settling into their new home. We all had things to offer each other. Lieutenant Resident Luana Quitquit, I think, later remembered, brotherhood, sisterhood, Native American college students and activists flocked to join the protest, and the population swelled to more than 600 people. A governing council was formed, and the island soon had its own clinic, kitchen, public relations department, and a nursery and a grade school for children. They did more with nothing than the U.S. government has done with everything. Like, within weeks, they had a fucking school? In a clinic? The U.S. government could never. This efficiency, this teamwork, give them all the land. All the land. It's yours. Clearly you know what you're doing with it. We're sorry. That's what I would have done. Elect me for president. Okay, anyway, they had a security force, and it was called the Bureau of Caucasian Affairs. If you don't know, there was a group of the government called Bureau of Indian Affairs that essentially just killed a bunch of people and was super terrible. Is all we're really going to get into on it, just because it could be a whole other topic. But yeah, so the Bureau of Caucasian Affairs, hilarious. They're able to get everything with nothing because money is actually worthless. No, really. So my boyfriend's family was in town last weekend, and I was talking to them about how, like, money is actually worthless and, like, exploitation in the workforce, and like I could see their wheels turning. They were like, really? And I was like, yeah, you've never thought about this in this way, huh? I love talking to people about class consciousness, and I'm like, it's crazy if you think about, because I was talking about my job, and I would be like, so if I do a real estate deal with someone and I performed 10 hours of labor on the deal, but the other person performed 2 hours of labor on the deal, they got 90% of the profits and I got this. And like, they were like, oh, that is kind of like, they're probably just bullshitting me to like make me feel included, but still, you know, Don't worry, I've researched all my candidates. They're proficient, effective, and funny. They can have whatever they want. No, it's literally, it's like, funny, check. Petty to the U.S. government, check. Efficient, check. Incredible. Incredible. Okay, so, they patrolled the shoreline to watch for intruders, and a Sioux man named John Trudel hopped behind the mic to broadcast radio updates under the banner of Free Radio Alcatraz. So they also had a radio station on the island, which this is literally just like incredible to me that this happened so quickly. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, exactly. And I'm really proud of this meme. I'm very proud of it. This was the promo for tonight's stream. Imagine the U.S. government pulling up to try and negotiate. They have like a fucking stack of encyclopedias and like $20 of public school funding. And they're like, hey, if you could get off the island, and then patrolling the island is the Bureau of Caucasian Affairs. They deserved that shit so hard. Like, literally, the government deserved that shit so hard. Like, bruh. The Bureau of Caucasian Affairs. Someone should put that on a shirt. Not me, because that would be not great, I think. But someone put that on a shirt. Let me give you my money. Someone put that on a shirt. Okay. So, how did they get stuff? If they're on an island, there's no running water, there's no grocery store, how did they get things? Other activists supported the occupation by shuttling supplies and visitors from San Francisco's Pier number 40. It's a big pier called Pier 40. The Native Americans issued a call for contributions, and by the end of 1969, canned goods, clothes, cash, and everything poured in from donors around the country, including celebrities. This question is on the game. Anthony Quinn, Jane Fonda, and Merv Griffin all visited the island to give their support, and the rock band Creedence Clearwater Revival even gave the Native Americans a boat, which was christened the Clearwater. So there were celebrities helping, and Jane Fonda is slaying as always. I wanted to take like one slide to talk about Jane Fonda, because Jane Fonda has gotten arrested for protesting literally so many goddamn times in her life. She was an activist legend. She has a long history of activism, which kind of started with marching against the Vietnam War in the 1970s. She actually went to Vietnam. They called her like Vietnam Jane, to talk to the people about communism and what they thought about it and all these things. Like, she was like, I'm going straight to the fucking source because all this bullshit y'all are saying is a lie. Is that Angela Davis in the bottom right pic? Yes. This is Jane Fonda working with civil rights leaders. She was very supportive of the Black Panther Party as well, I think. And then here's Jane Fonda very recently getting arrested for protesting. Hanoi Jane. Oh, yes, thank you. That's what it is. Here's Jane Fonda recently getting arrested for protesting climate change. So she was protesting climate change on the Capitol and was arrested by that dude. He seems super lame. But anyway, back to Alcatraz. Here's some pictures. I thought these were super cool and interesting. So you can see outdoor cooking. They were living in the prison cells just because that's kind of logical. It's the building that you have, but you can see all the doors are open, obviously. And then people were bringing in furniture. So this is a prison cell. I don't know if you can tell, but like this little outlet is like the shelf. And then they had brought in like rugs and furniture and all of this other stuff. So kind of to make it homey. Because if you think about it, like without the door, prison cell is just a room. Like, you can make it good. Like, it's just a blank slate. And then here is a woodcut from 14-year-old Elvin Willie. This appeared in the first issue of Indians of All Tribes Alcatraz newspaper that was produced in January of 1970. I love this. I love this. I want this as art in my home. I think I actually need to find a way to buy it. That's just a dorm room. No, literally, it's basically a dorm room. Without a door, a prison cell is just a room. Literally obsessed with that, right? Like, it's good. The all of it in caps. I'm obsessed. This is a Sioux actor and poet. Trudell, like we mentioned, he was on the radio, was a spokesman for the occupying tribes and founded Radio Free Alcatraz, which broadcast from the island. After the occupation, he went on to become the chairman of the American Indian movement while protesting in Washington in 1979. His second wife and their 3 children and her mother were killed in a house fire, and then he died of cancer at 69 in 2015. So here's a picture of him. Sad life. Very sad. This picture goes hard as fuck. This is metal as hell. Look at that. Y'all see this picture? This is an amazing photo. This is so, like, you can feel the energy in this photo. You know what I'm saying? This is so inspiring. This is a good topic. I'm glad I thought of this. I love all of these photos. Right? Right? Okay, this is also, like, this picture. The art. Are you kidding me? The art, the drama. I love it. This is incredible artwork. This is members of the occupation inside Alcatraz prison. In the front row from the left, is that a baby? That is a baby. We have John Trudell, Annie Oakes, Richard Oakes, Stella Leach, Ray Sprung, and Ross Hardin. These were some of the leaders. This picture is literally jaw-dropping. I'm so glad that there's people here on this stream because I knew this was going to be a good one. Like, it's incredible. It's inspiring to see this. This looks like an album cover. It does. It should be. This is like an album of a lifetime. Okay. But unfortunately, the vibes started to deteriorate a little bit later. But for most of late 1969, the occupation proceeded better than anybody could have imagined. Richard Oakes was the leader. We'll talk about him. But by early 1970, life on the island began to change. Many of the movement's college students and organizers had to leave Alcatraz to return to school, and they were often replaced by vagrants who cared more about living rent-free than fighting for the original causes. So our biggest problems are the freelance photographers and the hippies. They stay and eat up our stores, then leave. We have to clean up after them. Drugs and alcohol were both originally banned on the island, but they started circulating freely once the population started to change from actual protesters to just like randos. But that's super lame. Like, of course, it's like the photographers and the white hippies that are like, yeah, man, communal living, let's do it. And then they go there and just like eat everything, then fucking leave. And you know that those bitches talked about that forever. They're like, yeah, I was a part of the occupation of Alcatraz. I lived among the indigenous people for weeks. It's like, you were a menace. Were you invited? Did someone give you an invitation? What were you doing? Were you working? How are you providing? What were you bringing to the conversation? Did you bring money? Did you bring food? Did you bring labor? Did you do anything? Like, pick something up, clean something up, do something, get something done. No freeloading. But yeah, so that sucks. Super lame. Anyway, let's continue. The leadership crisis, this is the depressing part, I'm sorry. I bet they were insufferable study abroad kids, not you, Miss Redacted. This is not an attack on you. I try and be as like not annoying as possible about studying abroad. I also like to just say, oh, I took some of my college classes abroad. Because this is what I did. Like, I studied abroad. What do people do when they come from Spain and they start pronouncing everything? Oh, Barcelona. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, literally shut up. Literally just everybody shut up. Okay, but the leadership crisis got worse. Depressing vibes, sorry. Because Richard Oakes' stepdaughter fell down the stairs and unfortunately died from her injuries in 1970. This is incredibly sad, but I mean, accidents happen all over the U.S. to kids all the time. I couldn't really find a ton of information on it. It didn't seem like anything sketch, but it's really sad that this happened to this poor little girl. And again, like, I don't think it's anyone's fault. Just nature of having metal stairs, you know? Bye, I'm going to Spain this summer. Okay, anyway, Oakes and his wife left Alcatraz after the accident, leaving groups of warring activists to fight out control of the island. By May, the government had concluded that there was little hope of resolving the situation diplomatically, and Nixon cut the power to Alcatraz to try and force the Native Americans out. And then only a few weeks later, a fire tore across the island and destroyed several of the historic buildings. And the Native Americans said that this blaze was an accident or even the work of outside provocateurs, but it came as a major blow to morale. So people just kind of started to leave. Like, there was really not any one day where it was like, oh, there's a battle, the police came and it's over. Like, that wasn't the case. It was just kind of like the vibes slowly deteriorating over time and more people leaving, and then like the fire. Who knows? We don't know who started it. Allegedly. We don't know. We don't know, apparently. But despite, where was I? Despite increasingly squalid living conditions and flagging for outside support, a few holdouts continued to live on the rock for another year. I don't want to say Alcatraz is done with, former occupier Adam Fortunate Eagle lamented to the San Francisco Chronicle, but no organized Indian groups are active here. It has turned from an Indian movement to a personality thing. So just what I was saying about like the fucking hippies. Freeloaders. Citing a need to restore Alcatraz's foghorn and lighthouse, government officials quashed the occupation and armed federal marshals descended on the island and removed the last of the residents, which, like I said, had dwindled to only 6 men, 5 women, and 4 children. So that's what I'm saying. There was no day where like all 600 people got forced out. It was a very small group of people at this point. Still very sad to hear and see that the government did, but yeah, it's not like it was on day one, which is cool that this protest was so effective for so long. And it sucks that the movement kind of changed. Not the movement changed, but the people that were a part of the movement were not able to be there, and the kind of energy of the island changed. But I want to talk about the leaders a little bit. So this is Richard Oakes. He was born in 1942. He was a Mohawk Native American activist. He spurred the Native American Studies and University curriculum and is credited for helping change U.S. federal government Indian termination policies of Native American peoples and culture. And he led the 19-month occupation with Lenata Means, which we'll look at her in a second. Thank you, Florentine Eva, for subscribing. So a little about his life and his story. He was disappointed with the classes offered at San Francisco State and felt like there wasn't anything about Native American history, so he went to work with an anthropology professor to create the first Native American Studies department in the nation. He developed the initial curriculum and encouraged other Native American students to enroll at San Francisco State University. After he left Alcatraz, he continued his resistance. He helped the Pitt River tribe in the attempts to regain 3 million acres of land that had been seized by Pacific Gas and Electric. He also planned to create a mobile university dedicated to creating opportunity for Native Americans, but that never came to fruition. But as a result of his activism, he had endured tear gas, billy clubs, and brief stints in jail. Freelance photographers. White people trying to capitalize on non-white people's oppression. Ding, 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 ding. Nailed it. But soon after Alcatraz, Oakes was actually shot and killed in Sonoma, California by Michael Morgan, who was a YMCA camp manager. Basically, the story that I found online was Oakes reportedly confronted him, and Morgan said he was in fear of his life, so he drew a handgun and shot Oakes. He was unarmed when he was shot, and Morgan was charged with voluntary manslaughter, but was acquitted by a jury that agreed that the killing was an act of self-defense. Oakes supporters contend that the shooting was an act of murder, and that Morgan received support from a racially motivated jury and district attorney. Oakes was only 38 years old. Not saying all freelance photographers are bad, just talking shit about the hippies and stuff. Billy clubs. A billy club is like a baseball bat, kind of. Like getting hit by like a police baton, like a baseball bat kind of a vibe, if that makes sense. This is so interesting. I have to write a paper. Have a good night, everyone. Love you. Good luck on your paper. Normally I would be a YouTube follower, but after hearing about subscribing with Prime being free, I knew I had to figure it out. Sadly, it took me this far into the stream to figure it out. I admire your perseverance. I appreciate that. You are appreciated. So this is one of the other leaders. I was going to post a recent pic of her because she's still alive, but she just looked so fucking beautiful in this picture that I had to post it. Like, I couldn't not use this pic. And this is also a pic of her from that time. So I was like, okay, it's from the time. Because I like to show women aging. It's important. It's a part of your life. You shouldn't be afraid to age. I'm terrified of it, but you shouldn't. But anyway, just thought this was a gorgeous photo, and it was from the time period, and it's of the Bay. So I just wanted to do it. Okay. Let me breathe. Pictured my new idol, probably. Okay, so Lenata Warjack, she was born Lenata Vernay Boyer in 1947, also known as Lenata Boyer and Lenata Means, is an American writer and activist. She was the first Native American student admitted at the University of California, Berkeley in 1968. She led the drive to create the Native American Student Organization and became its chair. For you to be the first one there and be like, yeah, I'm making an organization, so you better let some more people in. As a leader of the Third World Strike at UC Berkeley in 1969, she was arrested but succeeded in obtaining the approval for the first ethnic studies course to be included in the university's curricula. A few months later, she became one of the organizers of the occupation of Alcatraz. After the occupation, she completed her bachelor's degree at the University of California, Berkeley, and went on to study law at the Anticoke School of Law in Washington, D.C. While in Washington, she participated in the takeover of the Bureau of Indian Affairs office in 1972. Returned to Idaho in 1974, Warjack was involved in tribal politics and served a 2-year on the Shoshone-Bannock tribes of the Fort Hall Reservation of Idaho Tribal Council. In 1979, she moved to Nevada and operated a ranch near Wadsworth, literally Antioch. Oh, thank you. Literally, she has had every job. She's had every class and every job. You're right. This is our hero. This is our idol. Okay, where was I? Now it's the David A. Clark School at UDC. Huh. Okay, where was I? Fuck. Okay, so she operated a ranch near Wadsworth, gaining certification for a permaculture from the Permaculture Institute of the Tagari Garden Farm near Sisters Creek, Tasmania, along with her husband, Gussa James, a northern peyote, I think. She worked on preserving natural resources for Native American use. When they divorced in the early 1990s, love a divorce, love when people get divorced, she returned to Idaho and earned a master's degree in public administration and a PhD in political science from Idaho State. She served for 3 years as the executive director of the Shoshone-Bannock tribes, and she has continued her activism on behalf of Native people and is a distinguished professor at Boise State University, teaching Native law and governance courses. A girl boss for real. Look at her. A legend. Okay, I want to show you a pic of her now. Images. This is what she looks like now. Here's her at Alcatraz. There, you can see that a little better. That's her now. Still a gorgeous queen, and we love her. Also, did you know that Teen Vogue is actually woke now? When I think Teen Vogue, it was here's an eating disorder. But now Teen Vogue is very with the times. Look, it says men have been credited with taking Alcatraz, yet women were vital every step of the way. So we need to keep up with Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue? I think you mean the new New York Times. But anyway, gorgeous woman, inside and out, educated, a slay. Her career, her activism, we love. Okay, moving on. So, what was the impact of these protests? While the last protesters were forced to leave the island in defeat, the 19-month occupation had succeeded in galvanizing Native American activists. Indian rights organizations, many of them staffed by Alcatraz veterans, later staged occupations and protests at Plymouth Rock, Mount Rushmore, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and dozens of other sites around the country. That's the cool thing about a protest of this magnitude, is that you can never measure the impact of it because the people go on and all have their own impact in their own ways. The people who read about it and were inspired by it go on to do things. The people that were only there for a couple days as a college student probably learned so much and went on to do incredible things. It's impossible to know the direct impact of a movement and a moment because it goes out and can touch so many people. Okay, anyway, federal officials also started listening to calls for self-determination. Even as the Alcatraz protest was still underway, in July 1970, President Richard Nixon had given a speech saying, "The time has come for a new era in which the Indian future is determined by Indian acts and Indian decisions." Could you have done better? Yes, but that sentence is a starting place. The U.S. government later returned millions of acres of ancestral Indian land and passed more than 50 legislative proposals supporting tribal self-rule. So obviously, still long way to go in terms of reparations and the correctment of the treatment of the indigenous people of the United States of hell. But this era made a lot of progress, and this protest had a very big impact. So the island's future after the protest, it opened as a national park in 1973, where the graffiti by the native occupiers can still be seen on several of the complex's buildings. The National Park Service even had some of the slogans preserved or repainted when they restored the water tower, like I said, in 2012. The Rock has also continued to serve as the focal point of Native American social campaigns. A pair of nationwide protest walks in 1978 and 1994 both began at the island, and since 1975, people have met at Alcatraz every November for an un-Thanksgiving Day to celebrate Native American culture and activism. So here's some pictures of un-Thanksgiving Day. And you can also see, this is a better view, so you can see where the island is. So that's San Francisco, and then like there's the Full House Bridge. United States of hell. New merch idea. New merch idea. Da 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 da. Not meal ideas, merch ideas. You can't find my note, you guys. Merch ideas. What was the idea? United States of hell. United States of hell. Okay, perfect. So let's look at these photos. They're gorgeous. So here's un-Thanksgiving Day. You can see it's like very much a protest vibe. The Full House Bridge. That's what it's called. Here's some pictures of the protest. You can see quite the gathering. It's a celebration of culture and a protest for like more rights. So it's kind of everything in one. Plug it, give us the link. I don't have merch yet. I'm working on merch. I'm so mad I never knew about the occupation of Alcatraz before. This is literally so huge, right? I didn't really know about this. I don't remember how. Oh, I remember. So I was like, oh, I want to do a stream about the Red Power movement, and I knew that there had been some protests, but I didn't know about this specifically. And then when I looked it up to start prepping, I saw this and was like, okay, obviously it's about this. I didn't even know this as a teacher. Isn't that embarrassing for me? This photo is gorgeous. You can see it's like quite the thing. They start super early in the morning. Also, Colin Kaepernick has gone before, so his tweet about it, I think this was in 2019. He said, "Today I was on Alcatraz Island in the Indigenous Peoples Sunrise Gathering in solidarity with those celebrating their culture and paying respects to those that participated in the 19-month occupation of Alcatraz in an effort to force the U.S. to honor the Treaty of the Fort Laramie." So here's him at that event. We probably didn't learn about this because... Oh, wait, this might be the comment of the night. This might be making the thumbnail. We probably didn't learn about this because it makes the government look, one, stupid, and two, like thieves. True. The U.S. government, derogatory. I'd heard of this, but I was very excited to see you talking about it in depth. Thank you. Here's another picture. The U.S. flag being upside down is a really important symbol. And then here is another picture. I just thought the photos from this were absolutely gorgeous. Like, that's one thing consistent through this stream. The photos, incredible. Incredible. My friend went to the sunrise gathering every year growing up. Thanks for giving more context about this. Yeah, I didn't even know that this was a thing. So, impact of the Red Power movement as a whole. The Native American movements from the 1940s to 70s left a lasting impact on the advancement of civil rights for the Native communities. Activism within the Red Power movement helped propel the status of these indigenous groups across the country, and it inspired lots of other groups like the International Indian Treaty Council. The IITC was founded in 1974 as a non-government organization and is the first Indian group to be designated as such. It is a unit that indigenous groups from all over the globe. The IITC works with nations and other organizations to seek better treatment, rights, and living conditions for indigenous people in all continents. So it did have a global impact as well. I only knew about this after visiting Alcatraz, and they had a few pictures up. To be honest, this place would be awful to live in. The weather conditions were awful. It would be tough, but like the natives said, when the U.S. government was like, you don't even have water, they were like, we've been stuck on reservations without water with terrible weather. So... give me your worst. was kind of the energy. Okay, let's play the game. The game is pretty easy. Let me turn my noises on. Which one do we want? I don't want you guys to have music on your thing. Jungle? Sports? Underwater? What game do we want? Beach? Let's do beach because it was an island. Oh, someone said space. Let me see if anyone else says anything. We haven't done space, have we? Have we done space? You're right. Let's do space. We're going to do space. Okay. Let me show you how to join. I'm putting the directions in the thing right now. So if you don't have to make an account, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to download anything, but if you are watching me on TV and you want to go to join.nearpod.com, or if you happen to have another device around, go to join.nearpod.com and enter this code RF8Q9. I will also going to paste the link here. Not there. There we go. I'm going to paste the link right here if you want to just open me in a new tab or whatever. You can join the game. There's questions. Your name will come up on the screen. If you do not have a secondary device, you will still see the questions. Feel free to just like play in your mind and join us. Have fun. And we'll be talking and we'll be hanging out. So even if you're not a competitive person, like I hate games. I hate games so much. I hate fun. I hate games and I hate competition. Leave me alone. My biggest competitor is myself because I'm the best. So why would I want to compete against anyone else? No, I'm just a really sore loser. But anyway, if you don't want to play the game, you don't have to play the game. You can still hang out with us. But I'll give everybody a few minutes to join and play the game. Duh. I've had so much going on this week. Okay. Oh my God, there's so many people in the game. There's 22 people in the game. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to join. Oh, and the game, it's based on if you're right. Look at my camo shorts. I'm just like very antsy and just like can't sit still right now. It rates you on if you answer the questions right and how fast you answer them. Is it like Kahoot? Yes, but better. It's a better version of Kahoot. It used to be cooler though because you could see your little characters running up the mountain and now you can't, which sucks. I forget the streams are live. I thought I was watching. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. There's 30 people in the game. That's funny. No, it's live. I'm here. It has like a couple seconds of a delay. So on the game, you're probably getting the questions on here before I'm like, you see me say them, you know? Okay. I'm hitting start. What did we learn about today? Oh my God, an anonymous gifter gave out a community sub to Lauralite28. Thank you. Help, I have ADHD. Tell me what I should do after this. Do you have anything you need to do? I don't know, take a shower, eat dinner. Did you already eat dinner? I guess it's 9 o'clock. I need to eat dinner. No, not really. Then relax. Do something you like. Do a craft. Shower is a good idea. Yeah, take a shower. I love a shower. I love a hot shower. I overslept today and couldn't shower this morning because I didn't have time to Peloton. Oh no, I missed the presentation. It's okay. It'll still be up after this and I'll put it on the YouTubes. All right, we're on question 4 of 10. Where is Alcatraz located? Ha ha. Ha ha ha. This is a hard one. This one has 2 right answers. Hopefully I didn't fuck up like making it and I selected both of them. Sometimes I do yell dirty when I fuck up the questions. That's really my bad, for real, for real. I see why whenever you're on Nearpod, they're like, we have pre-made activities, please use them. The right answers were San Francisco Bay and California. I hate when on Nearpod they're like, use our activities, but now I'm like, I be fucking up when I make my own, so maybe. Alright, how many tries did it take to take the island? I think I fucked this one up. I think it took 3, but I think I accidentally put 2. I'm sorry. See, this is what I'm talking about. I be fucking up. I be fucking up. Honestly, it happens. It was 3, and I think I accidentally put 2. I'm remembering when I did this. I made the question super fast today. I'm sorry. Yeah, the real answer's 3. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta throw a bone to the people that didn't get it right, you know? Are you gonna fix it in the grade book? Of course, always. What did the indigenous people want to use the island for? This one has a lot of right answers. A prison for the whites. Thank you. I appreciate that you noticed my sense of humor. Jay Schuler, thanks for subscribing. All right, how much did protesters offer to pay for the deed to the land? I can see my little character climbing the mountain. It's so cute, right? So cute. Is teaching random internet people like teaching a class of kids? No, because like in class, I was always like, we have to get through this. We have so much to do. We don't have enough time. And here, like, we go on so many tangents that it's super, super fun. But in some ways, this is like more tiring because I'm looking at a screen and there's like more comments that I'm reading when I'm teaching children, I'm like, shh, shh. And like I make them listen for like 5 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, now you can ask questions. So it's kind of like, it's more fun, but it's like I have to be like more, but I like it, if that makes sense. Like it's harder, but it's more fun. Someone's commenting on my TikTok that their family has photos of their great-grandmother on Alcatraz. I wish we had those. At least we have so many jokes here. Yeah, exactly. The vibes here are incredible. Joe Rogan would have sent water that turned them gay. Water's turning the frogs gay. Alright, T. I tried to make the last one an easy one. Alright, T. So, why isn't it going? Thank you. That's false. It's protected. It's a historic landmark. Okay. So this class is structured like when I was taking my grad degree classes during 2020. That's incredible. I wish the school was like that. Okay, so number 1, Betty Crocker. Nice job. First place, Betty Crocker. We love it. We're living it. Then we have Jim, Jerry, Cassajon, Ann, Abby, Nicole, Trash, Sunsets, Lauren, Nick, Allison, Lissatron, Coffee Pothead, Shayla, Reagan's Grave, Megs, Becca Trine, Ghost, Colton, Page, Vampire, Biatch, Aidenique, Alex Knopf, Bish Please, Jumping Lace, Ben, Leah, Yeah, Charlie, Esty, Gibb, Anna, Brandy, Aona, not sure, Jacobs, LB, and Nate. Nice job, nice job, nice job. Gold stars for everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. It is an honor, it is a privilege, and it is my greatest joy in life to teach you all things on the internet. I am still so fucking grateful every time that I remember that over 100 people want to spend their evening with me and want to come on here to learn from me. Is literally just like insane to me. I'm so happy about it. I'm not going to cry right now. But it's just such an honor to have something that I care so much about and I love so much, and to share that with other people who are interested in it as well. That's just my favorite thing in the world, so I'll get off my soapbox now. But thank you. If you have any memes, this isn't a very memeable event. It's not that funny. It was just really cool and interesting, but like always, you guys made it fun and funny. But yeah, if you have any memes or love or chatting, I'll hang out here for a couple more minutes. Thank you for being here. Next week, let me go through the content calendar. So I'm going to do a 2-part Vietnam War series. So we're going to do a 2-part Vietnam War series. That's going to be this upcoming Wednesday, Vietnam War. Following Wednesday, Vietnam War. I think I'm going to split it between like a timeline of the war, just like a basic information of the war, and then like the protest of it. I'm not sure actually. It's you and the Vietnam War till the end of time. It's 2 a.m. here, so good night. Thank you for staying until 2 a.m. And then I am going to stream the day before Thanksgiving, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what's happening with Mi Familia. Oh wait, actually, can I? I don't know. We'll see. I might have to work. We'll see. What time do you usually start again? I usually start about 7:30. We usually actually like... I'll join about 7:30. We usually dick around for like 20 minutes, and then we actually start the class a little closer to 8, but I get on here at 7:30. But thank you so much. Peace and love. Oh, you have blisters? That sucks. I don't drain my blisters. I don't know if that's right. It's literally 8 p.m. where I'm at. No problem at all. Woohoo. Good night, children. Love you. TTYL. Hope you're living, laughing, and loving. Also just realized I accidentally stole the hashtag anthrax attacks on here. This will be interesting. War is so complicated. I don't understand it. Love the Vietnam War. Zeus, whenever he's questioned, I just agree because you're wrong. That's a good meme. Okay. Love you. Have a good night. Bye.